As the song says, it's the most wonderful time of the year. And it's the perfect time because it's still a little bit early in the season. And because there was so much interest in ink and watercolor from some of my other videos, I thought I would do some seasonal things for you to show you how you can make your own Christmas cards or tags or whatever you like. So I'm doing 3 today. Grab your pen. All you need is a waterproof pen. This is a Micron. When it's dry, it's completely waterproof, so you can use watercolor with it. But I have a surprise, and today I'm going to be coloring with markers. And so just hang on because I'm going to show you what I just got. This is my new acquisition. It is 168 colors. Comes in this handy case, and look at that. I ordered these recently. I saw someone using some on a drawing, and I thought, oh, that sounds like fun. Now I already have some, but they were like odds and ends of colors, and I kept running into problems not having the color I want. These don't act like watercolors. Like watercolor, you can mix them, you can make the color you want. These are what they are. And so I thought, I like a little challenge. So what I'm going to do is order them and try them out. And so I got them and they were total mishmash. They were just every color all mixed together. So I actually sorted them all out more or less. I was surprised to see how many grays there are, but then there's lots of shadows, I guess. Blues, greens, yellows into sort of terracotta brown, orange, orange, red, purple, pink, and then a few odds and ends that mix in with each other. So what I'm going to do today in this video is use some watercolor paper and start with drawing, and then we'll color with these. So let's get started. I'm starting with this Fabriano watercolor paper. It's a hot press, which means it's smooth. It's 25% cotton, and it's 140 pounds or 300 grams per square, whatever. GSM, GMS. I'm cutting it in 4 pieces, so I actually might decide to make 4 cards if I feel inspired enough. It's been a really, really rainy day, and I can hear the rain on the skylight again. Just starting up again. It stopped and start, but the sun has made 0 appearance. The first image I'm going to create is just a little simple Christmas tree. And so what I want to do here, since this has measurements on it, I can easily find my center. And I'm just going to draw a simple triangle. And you can make it as wide as you want to, or as skinny as you want to, or as crooked as you want to, whatever works for you. And you can also put a stem on it if you want. And basically, it's totally up to you. I'm going to make mine just a little bit longer here. And this is just to give me kind of a shape to work with. And so I'm going to get rid of some of these extraneous lines because I don't need them. And I'm going to also end up erasing it all anyway. And while I'm here, I'm going to put a little star on the top like this, which are easy to do. You can do that however you like. Now there's 2 ways I could do this, and I'm a little bit undecided. The easiest way would be just to use your markers. And to do that, let me just show you a little possibility. Here's a piece of scrap. What you can do is just take 1 or more of the colors and make your little sprigs, or however you want to make your tree look. And if you're unsure, just try it on scrap paper. But what I want to do is use a pen first, because I like these pens with the fine nibs, and I'm just going to make a couple of little spriggy marks like this here and there, and then I'm going to fill them in with a marker. And as I mentioned, I think I mentioned, I want these little projects to be so simple that children can even do them. And my goal here is to make it fun for the time you spent at it, not to make it hard and challenging. There are other things that are hard and challenging, and if you're interested in that, I can certainly teach you more advanced things, but I would like to know if that's your thing. So this is going to look just like a little whiskery Christmas tree, which you won't find anywhere else. Once you've made it, you'll have probably the only whiskery Christmas tree in existence that looks exactly like yours. So this part obviously is very simple and quick. We're talking a couple of minutes. I'm using a Micron pen, archival ink pen in a 01, and the thing about these is that once the ink is dry on the paper, it won't move. It's permanent and it's definite, but you have to make sure that it's dry. It doesn't take very long, just a minute or so, but you don't want to go over it with watercolor or something too quickly, because sometimes that can turn out not that well. Also, you don't want to erase it very quickly because of the same reason. So I'm just going to take this and dab it up a little bit so it's not quite so obvious. I think most of this is dry. And this is a kneaded eraser. They're nice because they don't leave crumbs everywhere and they don't rough up the paper. Try and get some of those other lines out of there as well. Okay, I could totally leave it like that. I could have done it in color. And, you know, like it's basically endless what you can do. I'm going to start by, maybe I'll just outline this little star first with pen so it's a little bit more obvious. And then I'm going to color it in a moment when it's nice and dry. In the meantime, and I'm going to use this color, which is kind of gold. In the meantime, I'm going to take one of these greens. This is called deep green. And just add some more little whiskers to my tree. And you can put as many or as few as you want. You can make it a thin tree or a fluffy tree or a thick tree or whatever you like. This is also a good project for children. If you just show them how it's done, it's easy to catch on to. So there's that color. And then I'm going to put a little bit darker color. I have a dark green here. And I could just keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going as long as I want to. Just trying to put this kind of evenly around, fill in some spaces, get a little variation in color. And you can't tell me that you can't do this, because all it is making little dots and streaks. You need some paper, like cardstock will work. I'm using watercolor paper, but you don't need to. You don't need to go out and buy watercolor paper. It tends to be a little on the expensive side. But just regular cardstock that you can buy a sheet at a time at Michael's or some place similar, Hobby Lobby if you're near one, if you're fortunate enough to be near one. They aren't in Canada, so if I want to go to Hobby Lobby, I have to go across the border, which thankfully isn't that far away. Okay, the other thing I want to do then is just add a little bit of decoration. So I'm going to use this deep red color. These things are so tight, but I guess that's a good thing. I'm just going to put some dots here and there so it's looks a little bit more decorated. It's totally not necessary. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. My goal with this channel is to encourage creativity and to do it in small ways that are quickly satisfying. Sure, you can take lessons for years. You can study under great masters and whatever, if that's your goal. And I love that. I mean, I'd like to do that as well. But for me, the goal is to get creativity into more people's hands and make them feel good about it. There, I think the red really adds to it. Where else should I put one? You're probably looking at this going, put one over there, put one over there. Anyway, I could totally fill it in and it would be pretty cute. But see how easy that is? And it's pretty much done already. So I just have to fill in the star, and I'm using a color called Marigold, which I have to brag, I have the most adorable baby granddaughter whose name is Marigold. Isn't that the sweetest thing ever? There's one card right like that. And how long did that take? A few minutes? Okay, we'll put that over there. For this one, I'm going to do, let me see. I am going to just make some holly berries. And to do that, I'm making them like this. Why am I doing this instead of just drawing a perfect circle? Because if you do this, you don't have to draw a perfect circle. And a leaf just goes 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Line down the center, and there's your holly leaf. Do another one over here, just 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and a line down the center. I think I'll put a little one over here too. So here we go again. Now I'd also like to put some little curlicues or something like that, and I'm just going to do things like that. Like it's, what do you call those little, you know, when you throw the ribbons and they unfurl? I think that's enough. And we're going to use green again. I'm going to try this green, which is Viridian. Ooh, that's pretty. Viridian has more blue in it, just so you know. And I can actually use the marker end, which is this kind. Now my goal is not to color in the lines, just so you know. So this probably won't be in the lines. I'm going to just fill them in quickly. Like that, because I want it to look kind of expressionist, not perfectionist. I'm not big on perfectionism in art. I'm big on impression and expression and getting it done and learning along the way. So I've got that color, and I think I might use some of this green and see if that changes the color at all. I guess a little bit. Okay, now we want a red. So I'm going to use this same red. And I'm not going to try and fill it in, but if you want to, you do it. I want you to do what makes you happy. Okay, what color should I make the little curlicues? I think marigold would be a nice one. Yeah, because it's kind of gold and it's kind of a Christmas color, right? So I'm just going to go over these sort of close, no big deal. And one other thing I want to add, and this is actually pretty fun. If I was doing watercolor, I would normally splash it with watercolors. But instead, I'm going to use these markers, and I'm just going to make random dots. I'm going to kind of hold it down so that I get circular dots, not streaks. And partly I want to do this because I like visual activity. And if you don't know what that means, think of the difference between a minimalist home and a palace that's like Versailles, which is like encrusted with everything visual. There's a lot of activity visually in Versailles, or you know, any sort of overdone palace. So I'm putting in some dots. It almost looks like confetti, but I think it actually adds quite a bit. And again, super easy to do. Let's put lots in. Should I do some yellow ones too? That might be too much. However, is there such a thing as too much? What do you think? There's number 2. All done. And number 3, we're going to do a wreath. So again, I'm going to take my pen to do the drawing. I'm going to kind of estimate the center. So here's my measurements here. You see these lines, and here's the center. So this is 4 inches. because I cut up an 8 by 10. So if I say, okay, well, halfway here, halfway there, that's about the center. And I can mark that with a pencil. So da 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 da, there's my center. So then I can make my circle around it. If it doesn't look round, make more lines until it does. That's what you can do. Okay, from here, I'm just going to put leaves on it. And these are going to be also very random, and that's totally okay because my purpose is impression and expression, remember? Not perfection. You can even turn it around because sometimes it's easier to draw them the same direction when you keep your page going the same direction. There. It's very messy. You can see that? It's very messy. That's fine. Now I'm going to take and make some little berries, kind of here, there, and everywhere. They don't have to be attached to anything. And you'll see when we're done here how effective it is anyway. So I have a question that's just kind of been rolling around in my mind. And that is, everybody's kind of doing memberships for everything these days. Is that something that you would like? If for example, I started a Patreon page and did private kind of projects and that sort of thing, if that's something I've toyed with the idea, and just, you know, basically I don't want to make a lot of extra work for myself, but if that's something people would like, we can work something out. So please let me know in the comments if that's something that you would like. It would be probably pretty user-friendly and pretty cost-effective. I'm going to use different greens on this, so I'm randomly kind of putting them around here, just coloring in the leaves. And you can see why it didn't really matter that the leaves went over the wreath shape. But you know, if you buy a wreath, it's got this kind of thing anyway. It's either a grapevine or wire or whatever. So there's some of that color, and then there's dark green. We'll try that one. Ooh, this is really dark. I don't know if I want a lot of these. But you know, markers are pretty fun. They're a totally different character from watercolor and acrylic because you can't mix the colors. The other option is you can do a membership on YouTube, which is basically, I'd have to look into it a little bit more. I've only kind of briefly considered it. You just get some extra little perks for only a few dollars a month, if that sounds like fun. And one of the reasons is it's kind of nice to know that you're part of a group. I love that myself. It's like, I feel like I belong if there's that kind of connection. Okay, where's my red? Let's see, do I want this? This is a different red. It's geranium. That's really pinky, isn't it? What about cherry pink? Is it pink or is it red or what? That looks almost the same. I kind of wonder about these. As I mentioned, they aren't the expensive ones, and I was fine with that because it's not going to be my main medium of expression probably anyway. So I'm just going to color these little guys in with this red. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, membership on YouTube. I've kind of hesitated because I've been trying to sort of cut back on work more than add more to it. But there are some things that you can do that don't add a lot more work, but add a lot more value. And I like that idea. Anyway, let me know in the comments. If you've made it this far, I assume that you like my videos and like my work, and maybe even like me, I don't know. I just feel like I want to connect more with people. So let me know what you think. Anyway, that's all we need to do with that, except for erasing the belly button here. Okay, so that's all there is to this, ladies and gentlemen. This is like the simplest Christmas card designs ever. And if you don't want to make Christmas cards out of them, you don't have to. Just sit down and doodle, or, you know, get out your sketchbook and play around with it. If you want to use watercolor instead of markers, that's fine. If you want to use acrylic paint, you just do whatever makes you happy, but there's some ideas that you can run with and maybe will inspire you. I hope you have fun with that. I suggest that you watch this video next that's coming up, and I'll see you next time.